Hey there everybody, it's Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, where we tell you the facts, not fluff, and today we're going to take a look at a new school airgun in an old school way. This is the new Gamo Swarm Fusion 10X Gen II. This form factor happens to be one of my favorites that Gamo ever produced. Let's get into it. All right, before we get started, I want to say thank you to the guys over at Pyramid Air for sponsoring AirgunWeb in these videos. Guys, when you need airgun stuff, guns, scopes, tanks, pellets, all that kind of stuff, please remember www.pyramidair.com. They'll take good care of you. Now, let's jump into this rifle here. Like I said, this form factor is one of my absolute favorites from Gamo. I love this shape of the stock, this handle that comes down like this. I really, really like that. I like the weight. It's very, very light. I mean, you could carry that all day and not get fatigued. I love the fact that even though we have the swarm mechanism, we still have our open sights, and they're not this big obtrusion that's sticking way up off the bore. These are pretty much in the same space they'd always be in this form factor. That's also very cool. The swarm mechanism, now this is the Gen II. The original swarm system sat straight up, went in like that, no open sights. Now I personally like having open sights as an option, and I'll get to why here in a little bit. This new system where the magazine sits flat, and then when you go to cock the barrel, watch this now, it rotates, you see? And as it rotates, it lines up, there's a pellet pusher, pushes the pellet into the breech, and there you go. And then when you close the barrel, it goes back flat again. Very, very awesome. Now, when I got this out, I thought this is just going to be easy peasy, just like my old Swarm. We're just going to throw our red fires in it and go to town. And boy, I wish that had been the case, but it wasn't. This thing really made me work for it, and that's why I say old school review, because it reminded me of the old school break barrels that I used to sort of fight with to find that perfect match of pellet, scope, hold, all of that stuff, to see the repeatable accuracy. The good news is I did find that perfect balance to get consistent accuracy. And I'm going to kind of walk through the process so that you can have the same sort of results that I did. Now, you get your brand new break barrel. Maybe you're new to air guns. Maybe you're old to air guns. You get it and it's just not grouping. You know, the first thing you do, well, it's the scope. You throw the scope away, you buy a new scope, you're still not grouping. You're figuring out what is going on. The first thing you need to do if you have a rifle that isn't performing like you think it should, go ahead and take the optic off. If you have the open sights, this is an option, right? So what you'll want to do is set up relatively close, like 10 yards, 15 yards. Shoot with open sights. I was shooting at 20 yards with open sights, kind of going through some different pellets. I actually found the field target trophy started giving me some really decent, consistent groups. And look, if it's grouping 1.5 inches consistently at 20 yards with me shooting open sights, I know the gun has potential. If it's all over the map, no matter what you do, very well could be the gun. So you know right off the rip that if it's not grouping with open sights, you tried a bunch of different pellets, you tried a bunch of different hold techniques, and you're still not getting any consistency, then you probably know it could be the gun. That was not the case here. When I shot open sights, worked on my technique, got really consistent with where I'm going to hold it, how I'm going to hold it, how much pressure I'm going to use, all of that kind of stuff, I just watched my group shrink and I said, okay, so it's not the gun, it's my technique. So I got to figure out what's going on here. The next thing I did is I put the Gamo scope back on and realized that no matter what I did, I could not get both the reticle and my field of view. I could not get both in focus. It was one or the other. And every time I would try and adjust the eyepiece to get it in focus, my shots would just go cattywampus. So I'm thinking maybe the scope's not right, or maybe me and that scope were not getting along. So I took that scope off and I put just my old tried and true. This is a Hawke scope. I wish we could still get these. You can, unfortunately. This is a 2.5 to 10 side focus. This thing is just a workhorse. I've used it for years and love it. They have other similar scopes, but this is just my tried and true brake barrel scope. I love this guy. And so I threw it on this gun, and all of a sudden I started getting some consistency. Now I started with the Gamo Red Fires, like I said, did not work out. And I started going through pellet after pellet after pellet after pellet after pellet. And I found that it really sort of liked the H&Ns. The H&N Field Target Trophies seemed to give me that best group. And I tried the Barracuda Match, I tried the Terminators, I tried the Barracuda Hunter Extremes, I tried all manner of these different H&N pellets. But I kept coming back to the Field Target Trophy. And here was the other thing. It actually liked a specific head size. So I tried the 5.53s, 5.54s, 5.55s, and that's when things really started to get consistent. I love that it's lightweight. If I'm going to carry this out on a hunt or something, man, I love that it's lightweight. If I'm shooting from the bench and my technique's just a little bit off, I'd like it to be a little heavier, frankly, because any sort of little deviation in the pressure of your hold, position of your offhand, you know, how you're pulling the trigger, position of your thumb, all of those things start to matter with a gun that has this kind of recoil and is this light. Now, I know what some of you guys are saying. That gun doesn't have any recoil. Rick, go shoot a real gun. Well, I have plenty of real guns, and they recoil, but this has a different kind of recoil that a traditional firearm does not. If you're new to air guns, you're buying these brake barrels, you need to understand how this works. There is a heavy piece of metal in here called the piston. When you compress this, you cock the barrel, compresses that piston that's sitting on top here. When you pull the trigger, that flies forward, slams into the compression chamber. So you've got this chunk of metal. It may be close to a pound, I don't know. It's heavy. And then it's flying forward rapidly because that's what generates the pressure to send the pellet out. And it slams into the front of this compression chamber. That causes the gun to lurch forward. That's why they go through all of this stuff, the recoil reducing rail, stop pins, all this other stuff, to try and get the scope to sit still. Because of that forward recoil, man, it can wreak havoc with your group consistency. If you change the position of your offhand just a little bit, you're gonna watch your shots wander right on that vertical axis. I'll show you some groups here as I was working through where I needed to hold for consistency. You're just gonna watch the string just like that. That is a technique issue. That's not a fault of the gun or the optic. That's the fault of the shooter not having the consistent holding technique. And what I found is that, try as I may, I could get 9 shots to group just about where I wanted, and I would sure enough shank one of them. And that just comes down to I need more trigger time with this gun. This thing, as awesome as it is, as much as I like it, it is picky in how you hold it, how you pull the trigger, what pellets you use, all of that stuff. You're gonna have to find that perfect match for you to see that consistency at range. Now, I was shooting today at 20 yards, really got that sort of dialed in. I'm probably gonna do some more at longer ranges, see if I can get my technique even that much more consistent so I can transfer that consistency out to maybe 40 yards. I really don't see this as a 50-yard gun. I really see this in that 20 to 40 yards, maybe a 35-yard max, kind of in that area, which is pretty decent for an inexpensive brake barrel rifle. The benefit of this product, however, is really right here. That little guy right there. Having 10 shots on tap. You don't have to go through any weird mechanics to make this work. Just cock it like you would normally, and you're good to go. This has the open sights, which is really important. Let's say you don't want to run with an optic. You just want to go with open sights. Not only does it have open sights, but these are really nice open sights. They're true glow, but the filaments are very, very thin. So when you bring that up to get your sight picture, they're not these big fat, blobs. They're actually very precise, and they're very easy to use. Micro click adjustable, metal, just a really, really nice open sight system here. So that's basically it. We got the wind picking up here at the range, which is nice because it's cooling things off, but it looks like we got some weather rolling in. So I'm gonna wrap this review up. Guys, this is the Gamo Swarm Fusion 10X Gen II. Very cool gun. I can't wait to do some more with this thing. Pretty awesome, guys. My name is Rick User here with AirgunWeb, where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Thanks for watching.